Hi, my name is Dr. Brian Hoffmaster, and I'm the student education pharmacist at Cleveland Clinic. And I'm excited to be here right now to tell you a little bit about the pharmacy department at Cleveland Clinic, and more specifically about the advanced pharmacy practice experiences, or APPEs, that are available with us. First, I want to tell you a little bit about Cleveland Clinic. We are a not-profit, multi-specialty academic medical center, and the clinic was founded almost 100 years ago in 1921 by 4 physicians. As they were coming back from the war, they figured that things seemed to work really well for them when they acted together as a unit. And that's really become one of the Cleveland Clinic's mottos over the years, to act as a unit. So this whole idea of providing patient care with different disciplines, but yet still working together in concert, was really founded at that point in time, and that's really still what Cleveland Clinic works with today. If you haven't heard about Cleveland Clinic yet, I wanted to share with you a little bit about our reputation, how we're known around the world, and again, to tell you a little bit about our vision and our mission. So our vision is to become the best place to receive healthcare anywhere and the best place to work in healthcare. The mission that we have has been the same since we founded in 1921. It's to care for the sick, to investigate their problems, and to further the education of those who serve. So I want to draw your attention to that last point right there, the further education of those who serve. That's you. That's all of the students that would be coming into our health system. You are a part of our mission, and you have been since the clinic opened its doors. So we're excited to have you as you're considering coming to Cleveland Clinic for doing some of your APPEs. Like I said, I wanted to talk a little bit about the clinic's reputation as well. So if you haven't already heard, the clinic is well recognized by the US News and World Report. We are #2 on the National Honor Roll for best hospitals. Every year we kind of go back and forth between in the top 5, or we have at least for the past 20 some years. And I think what's especially impressive is that for the past 26 years in a row, we've been ranked #1 for cardiac care. But we don't just stop there. We're also highly ranked in all of our specialties that we have at Cleveland Clinic. And you can see a list of them there on this slide. So our main campus is a 1,400-bed academic medical center. And we have 10 community hospitals in the greater Cleveland area, along with 18 family health centers. While we do have many locations outside of Ohio, and we're really starting to grow in that area, this presentation today is really just going to focus on the APPE opportunities that we have in the Northeast Ohio area. In total, we have nearing about 6,000 inpatient beds. But to me, the part that was most fascinating coming into the clinic for the first time when I came as a PGY2 resident is that we have over 1,400 pharmacy employees, which at first may be a bit intimidating, but it's been neat to see over the years that I quickly learned that we had many different specialty departments within the pharmacy department. And it's neat to have all of that support and a bunch of different people fulfilling specific specialized roles that they have. Our budget for the pharmacy department is over $1 billion. But what is fascinating to me about this is that the portion of this for salaries is very small. Most of this spend is on the drugs that we provide for patients. We have 20 ambulatory pharmacies. We call them ambulatory pharmacies, but they're retail operations. So it's very much so like your Walgreens or your CVS type of experience. One of the main differences being that our retail pharmacies don't have drive-thrus. I hear that's a good selling point, so I always try to mention that. We have over 50 different residency positions available within the health system. And this varies from our PGY1s in general pharmacy practice. We also have 2-year combined programs in pharmacotherapy or in pharmacy administration. And then we have many different PGY2 programs in many different specialties. But what I'm here to talk to you more about today would be our APPE opportunities, of which we have over 45 different types of APPE experiences at the clinic. If you're interested in some of these statistics and a lot of the information I've been telling you about the clinic, there's more to be found. And you can check out the website that's listed for you at the bottom of this slide if you're looking for more of those stats and figures. But to tell you a little bit more about the APPE experiences, I wanted to kind of walk you through one of our brochures. So every year we work hard to create this brochure and update it to really give you a very good sense of what rotation opportunities we have available at the clinic. So this is a 4-page document, and I just wanted to spend some time walking through it with you so you can understand the information that's inside of it. On the first page here, you'll see a picture of Cleveland Clinic, of course, and you'll also read some information about the health system, some of which I've already shared with you in this video. In the middle, you'll see our contact information. You'll see my information there, along with Sue McKay. She is my right-hand person with everything related to students. We work together as a team, and if you want to reach both of us or send us a message where you can know that both of us are going to read it, send it to the email address at the very bottom of your screen. You see there, pharmacystudents@ccf.org. That will go to both Sue and myself. At the bottom of this first page of the handout, you'll see what I typically refer to as the menu of different choices that you could take for your rotation opportunities at the clinic. And I wanted to look at these just a little bit closer. If you look, you'll see that some of them have asterisks and other symbols next to them. And really what this means is that they're available in different practice area settings, or as I like to call it, they're available in different flavors. I always use my wife as an example for this one because she's a pediatric pharmacist. And so if you happen to be interested in a specialty like that, in pediatrics, I think it would be good for you to know that we have different opportunities available in these different areas. So for instance, the ambulatory care rotation, the community pharmacy rotation, the hospital health systems rotation, and the leadership rotation are all examples of rotations that are available with that pediatric flavor to them. So those rotations will meet all the requirements that you need to for your school and for their accrediting body for ACPE, but you get the benefit of having that additional exposure to that specific specialty area. The preceptors that have those rotations in the sample case that I was talking to you about in the pediatric world, those are all preceptors within the children's hospital. So it's a great experience that you're able to kind of double dip a little bit and see different specialties, not necessarily spending all of your electives to do so. On the second page of this handout, it really tells you a bit more about all of our different locations, our hospital facilities. So if you're wondering how we might describe them, or in essence, what specific medical specialties we have available at the different locations, you'd find that on this page. You'd also find the bed sizes of these hospitals, so you can kind of tell what their relative sizes are. On pages 3 and 4, this is really where this brochure may get a little bit detailed, but I really thought this was a great tip that I got from fellow students a few years ago. So the suggestion was, at the time, all I had was the menu that you saw on page 1, but students were asking, you know, how do I know which rotations are available at which of your Cleveland Clinic locations? That's a really good question, and I wanted to find a way where we could present that information to you so that you had more information when you're kind of making your decisions and planning through your APPE year. So if you look at pages 3 and 4, you'll see along the left-hand side would be all of the different rotation types, their names, and across the top would be the locations. Page 3 focuses on our hospitals and administrative campus and the home care locations. And page 4, you'll see the ambulatory care clinics and our family health centers. Of course, I had to color code this as well, which hopefully serves a very helpful purpose. So the colors align with the various rotation categories that are required by your school or by ACPE, their accrediting body. With some schools, the names are slightly different, but they're still organized in that same fashion. So for instance, you'll see at the top of page 3, there are rotations that are in that blue color, and those would be your community pharmacy or your retail dispensing operations. Right under that, in the red, would be the ambulatory care rotations. Then we have a hospital health systems rotation. Those are found in the yellow. Our general medicine is found in the green. And then the bottom half of page 3 talks to you all about electives. Patient care electives are seen there in the purple, and non-patient care electives are in the orange at the very bottom of that document. I do have a few that are in the gray area, so they're aptly colored gray. I leave this up to the school as to how they're designated. Some may be designated as patient care, but many schools tend to call those non-patient care electives as well. So again, this is really the slide that you want to take a look at, as well as pages 3 and 4 in your handout, to really get a good sense of which rotations are available at which of our different locations. A couple years ago, as I was getting into my role at the clinic, when we were looking to expand the rotations that we offered even more, we started to hear from students that they would love to come to the clinic, but they had some issues with housing. Either they weren't from the Cleveland area, or they didn't know anybody, they weren't comfortable committing to come to Cleveland for any extended period of time for that reason. So we worked hard to create what we call the short-term housing concierge office at the clinic. And this is really, it's just a service that's available to you, available for you to use. It doesn't cost you anything. It's nothing that the clinic makes any profit off of. Really, the purpose is just to vet different housing options in the greater Cleveland area. And this office also will negotiate specific rates for students and work with the housing development place to ensure that you're not going to have such a very large security deposit if you're only going to be there for a shorter period of time. Of course, the pricing of different housing options is probably similar to any other market. You're going to pay more for different amenities, and you can kind of read more about that here. But by and large, you can kind of see what you're getting into price-wise if you get in contact with the short-term housing concierge office. So if you decide to come to the clinic to do rotations, I would certainly encourage you to come with somebody you know. It may help you save on some cash and share some expenses if you have a roommate. But if you're not coming with anybody you know and you'd still like a roommate, this service can also kind of help you in that regard. They kind of work to pair students together, maybe from different disciplines, maybe with a medical student or a nursing student that's spending some time at the clinic. But that's part of what they do. So if you're interested in their services, I would certainly reach out to them. You can see here on this slide, as well as on the bottom of page 4 of your handout, you can see their website, as well as their email address and their phone number. I know they've been really helpful to a lot of our students. I've had some students that have told me they've started to use this service, and then as they kind of felt comfortable with the geography and with the Cleveland area, they decided just to get their own place using a different service, such as Airbnb. And that's completely fine too. There's no commitment to use our short-term housing concierge office. Again, it's really just there as a service for you, so you can use it as you will and use as much of it as you want as you're going through and planning your housing if you're coming to Cleveland Clinic. So I talked a little bit about the different rotation locations. This was another great idea I had from another student a couple of years ago to present it more in a geographical format. So for those of you that would like to look at that same information on a map, this would be the way to do it. So you can see the link down at the bottom of your screen here. And if you go to that link, you'll see this map here that we've created. You can see all of our hospitals as well as our family health centers that show up here. And the neat thing is that if you click on any one of those locations, you'll also see a picture of that location, as well as in the description field, it will list all of the rotations that are available at that location. So again, it's the same information that's found on pages 3 and 4 of that brochure. It's just presented in a different format. This way, it may be more helpful if you're trying to plan which locations might better suit you. So what's next in this whole process of picking rotations and coming to do rotations at Cleveland Clinic? So first of all, I would tell you, make sure you've reviewed this video, as well as reviewing the handout that we've sent to your school. Hopefully they've distributed that with you. This really details all of the information that I've talked about in this video and tells you about all of our rotation options. After you feel that you have a good handle on all of that information, I would tell you step 2 is to indicate your interest to us by completing a Google form. So this is a link that we've sent to your school, so they'll be sending it out to you if they haven't already. And what this is basically just a way where we collect information about you, just some basic information, your name, and then we're also going through and collecting what your preferences would be in terms of the rotations that you'd like to take at the clinic. So we actually work with 30 different colleges of pharmacy, and none of them outside of Ohio have the same start and stop dates. So there's no computer program that helps us do all the scheduling. This is still something that, that Sue and I do by hand every year. So we take these Google Forms and we read through them carefully, and we use them to create your schedule. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this presentation, it's this. So listen carefully. If you complete one of the Google Forms, Sue and I work to write you a schedule. It's that simple. There's not an application that you have to wait and hear back that you've been accepted. If you complete one of the Google Forms, you can consider yourself accepted. The only thing you have to wait to hear from is exactly what that schedule looks like. So as soon as we finish it, we will hand it back to your school, and they'll communicate that with you. In this form, you'll also see options where you're able to kind of indicate things to us, like different things that you might value. So I've seen across the years where some students value the very specific type of rotation that they want, or they might value a specific geographic location, or they might value having a rotation during a certain time of year. So those would be important things to let us know how you feel about. And so we let you rank those on a scale of not important to very important. And by letting us know how you feel about those things, it will help us when we put your schedule together as well. When you go through the form, you'll also see that it will ask you about how many rotations you would like from different categories. But even if you're only interested in coming for one rotation at the clinic, I would still ask you to fill out this form and rank your preferences and include all that information here for us so that we can go about that whole scheduling process for you. Well, I think that's the end of my presentation. So at this time, if I were there in person, I would ask you about any questions that you would have. But since I don't have that option to do, I'll leave you with this. I'm sure that you will have questions that come up as you're going through your APPE year and thinking about scheduling all these wonderful APPE experiences, whether they're at the clinic or at other places. And I would tell you that when you do have those questions, especially about ones pertaining to the clinic, please don't hesitate to send us an email. You can send me an email, you can send one to Sue, or you can send one to the shared box. We'd love to have your questions, and hopefully we'll be able to get back to you quickly and give you a good answer. So thank you for your time that you've taken to watch this video. Hopefully you have a bit more information about what rotations are like at Cleveland Clinic. And yes, as I said, please don't hesitate to let us know about any other questions you have. All right, thank you.